All right, it's the Houston High School Huddle. We are into state semifinal week. That means me and Stepp only got 2 more weeks to talk to y'all. We'll finish this thing up next week, but this week is our state semifinal week, and we both made some predictions last week. We both got burnt by Atascocita. I did in the regular season. You did in the playoffs. The LaPorte-Angleton game was just as great as we thought it would be. The other game you saw was just pretty daggone good as well. Overtime thriller. Randall jumps on a loose ball there and heads on to Waco. Talk a little bit about what you saw in the regional finals that may have surprised you in the Houston area, or at least intrigued you.
Starting North Shore, I said if they hang on to the football, they'll win. I did pick Atascocita because I didn't think North Shore would hang on to the football. They did for the most part. And they unleashed Caleb Bailey on the world. Atascocita primarily. Bailey was unbelievable. Credit to North Shore, they played great. Summer Creek kind of expected that with their dominant win over Kingwood. Not a surprise there. I thought Bridgeland gave Duncanville a good run, like I thought they would, and they gave them a good run. Duncanville just had a little too much for them, though. And then I would say, the Angleton-LaPorte game, which I was at, was just a knockdown, drag-out war between two teams that know each other really, really well. Great crowd at NRG. Both fan bases showed up. It was a great ball game. I think the key was Angleton was able to make some explosive plays late. LaPorte just struggled in the second half offensively. And I think part of that is Angleton knows LaPorte's personnel really well. Randall and Iowa Colony was another real slugfest kind of game. A little concerned about Randall's offense the last couple of weeks. They just have not – the competition's gotten better for sure. But Randall just hasn't been able to get consistency. In the last 2 weeks, Landon Williams-Callis has kind of been contained a little bit. He did not have a very good game last week against Iowa Colony. So interested there. Bay City, very disappointing in 4A Division I. That effort, got blown away by Lavernia, really. Kind of thought Sealy was in trouble against La Vega. Kind of thought that. Columbus and Edna, you get your all Houston region state semifinal there. I know you're fired up Thursday night for that game at Rice. Columbus, very, very impressive, when taking down Franklin. So and then Tidehaven, what a win for Tidehaven. David Lucio's ball club surprising everyone with that big win. So a lot of mixed bag, but I'd say more good than bad for the Houston area this week.
Yeah, absolutely. That would lead us up to the semifinal games, the state semifinal games, which we'll start off in 6A and take a look at what we have left in 6A Division I. North Shore, Westlake. If we looked at this thing at the beginning of the season, this is probably what we'd see, right? This is probably what we predict. And so everything's kind of playing out there it is. But these are both going to be 2 really good matches. Let's talk a little bit about North Shore and Westlake. Maybe this won't be as good as we thought because, Atascocita went up to Westlake and beat them. And now Westlake is coming to North Shore, a team that beat Atascocita twice. So on paper, if you play that game, which you've already told me you don't like to play that game, but if you play that game, it looks like a North Shore win.
Yeah, I think North Shore comes into this game as the favorite for sure. The offensive talent they have is great, but what sets this North Shore team apart is their defense. They've been really, really good and consistent on defense all year. Westlake's defense has been great. They've got a linebacker, Elliot Schraper, committed to Duke, who might be the best high school football defensive player in the state of Texas. He's unbelievable. But what North Shore's got way too much speed. Barring turnovers, I think they'll handle Westlake. Westlake will keep it close. They'll keep it close to the vest. They're not going to do anything crazy. They're going to try to keep the game in the 20s. But if it gets into a shootout, they don't have the personnel to keep up with North Shore, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. And like you said, I'm just up here looking at the highlights, but sure are going to miss seeing Caleb Bailey after these last 2 games if they play 2 games because when he plays like he's been playing in the playoffs, virtually turnover free. You don't know if he's going to throw or run. When he runs, it's not like a regular quarterback running. Like everybody knows I'm a Commanders fan. Jalen Daniels is going to get his yardage and jet out of bounds because he doesn't want to get hurt. Caleb Bailey throws caution. He'll bowl you over. He doesn't care. He's a big, strong back. He could play running back if he wanted to. When he gets going, if he gets going, it's a treat to watch, and it's hard to contain.
Yeah, the key is if he doesn't turn the football over. If he takes care of the football, I think North Shore. I'm going to say this right now. If Caleb Bailey takes care of the football the next 2 weeks, I think North Shore wins the state championship. There you go. They got to do it. So we'll see.
What do you think about that top half? Everybody's been kind of looking for a North Crowley at Duncanville matchup, and now we got it.
14-0 versus 13-0. Two teams loaded with Division I talent, just absolutely loaded. Duncanville blew them out last year. I don't think it'll be a blowout this year, but I'm sticking with Duncanville champions advantage in a close one. They have a trick that only North Shore can stop, and that's Keelan Russell to Decory and Moore.
Right.
I think North Shore is the only team in the state that has the personnel that can deal with that. And I think North Crowley, as talented as they are, they're a little shaky on defense, so the edge goes to Duncanville.
And in North Crowley's credit, they've done everything that we asked them to after that blowout. They toughened up their non-district, and not only do they play four really tough teams, they beat them all, swept through their season. They've been playing pretty good. They found themselves a little treat there in the wide receiver, Quentin Gibson, but doing everything we asked and still beating Duncanville is a tall order. So
it's hard, but it's going to be a lot closer game this year. It will not be a blowout, in my opinion.
It's got to be. All right, Division II. Here's what I like about Summer Creek, because we've been saying this the whole playoff long. The whole side of their bracket unfolded for them with a lot of games that they feel like they should have been able to beat. And they're not just they're not looking at it and nickel diming their way through it. They're doing what they're supposed to do, these teams. That's what makes you feel like they are really serious about getting their get back. Well, they're not going to be able to, as we've talked about. Longview took out DeSoto for them. But it doesn't matter who they're playing. They're still sticking it to them. They're like, look, this is serious business. I think Kenny Harrison's all about business, and I see them going into the state title game. Is this a team that could win a state title as well?
I think right now they're the favorite to win state title in 6AD2. I think we could have a Houston sweep in 6A.
Interesting. There you go.
I think we could.
You heard it here first.
I think Summer Creek, out of these four teams, I would consider Summer Creek the favorite. Blake Thomas is playing out of his mind. Jamaica Jones, I believe is his name, the receiver, had a big game. And the DB, Brandon Jones, it seems like every week he's got pick six. Every week.
He got two in the first week.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Vandergrift played for the state championship in 2022. Got beat in the first round of the playoffs last year. They're back in the semis this year with kind of a young team it's kind of overachieved. Right. But I think Summer Creek's got a little too much for them. So this is the rare, unfortunately, Saturday night semifinal game. So you and my cohort Greg Tepper are not pleased about this.
I'm not pleased about that. I will be there at that game, but there's no reason for me to shoot it. I'll just probably sit there and watch. I'm actually going to go to all the games at Baylor this weekend.
Okay, all right, I'll see you.
Bringing a little friend with me as well. The two of us are just going to walk the sidelines that last game and see what we got here. Because, like you said, they're the favorite because people are looking at Southlake and say, why aren't they the favorite? Well, they're kind of beat up in the running back position. Longview beat the crap out of DeSoto, but the thing is, and maybe you can shine some light on it, their quarterback doesn't really throw that much. So if you get ahead up on Longview, getting ahead of a guy that runs for 300 yards is one thing. But if you do get ahead, they don't really have the kind of offense to throw it around and get back in.
Yeah, they're not built for that. I think Southlake, they've kind of morphed into a passing team because of the injuries to the running backs, and they've been good at it. The defense is, they beat Geyer last week, but, they got some gifts. Geyer made some real bad special teams miscues. Yeah. Longview just went out and dominated DeSoto. Most shocking result of the weekend by far.
Yeah. I was at that guy.
That guy, Boosie Washington, was doing some setting it off for sure for the Lobos, and they rolled. I have a hard read on Southlake and Longview. I think I would prefer to see a Longview Summer Creek state championship game. Would be really fascinated by that, and I think Longview would bring a huge crowd, which would be a lot of fun. But it's hard to pick against Southlake Carroll, so I'm going to go Southlake Carroll on the top side to match up with Summer Creek in the state championship. A little DFW versus Houston matchup.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of people saying that from the highlights they saw of Longview DeSoto. It doesn't sound like Longview brought a lot of fans. I didn't see them there. I said, well, they're all under the concourse. It was raining pretty good. They were there. You couldn't see them because it's raining pretty good.
Yeah, they'll be in full force at SMU on Saturday.
Absolutely. They don't get one of their two favorite spots, which is Mesquite Memorial and Kincaid, but they get a little bit further down the road, and they'll get a game that should be fun to watch. 5A Division I. What do you notice about these Final Four that we don't notice almost every single other year? There's no Alito in it.
Yeah, because Denton Ryan, as predicted by me.
As predicted by Stepp.
To the chagrin of Alito Nation, they let me know about it, but hey, I got it right. So I
got it right, exactly.
Clap back at him a little bit for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're
Denton Ryan,
taking
Highland
on-
Park. They are the coaching staffs are familiar with each other. The teams probably aren't because they hadn't played in a few years, but they had a run there where they were playing four straight years. They played in the playoffs, and Highland Park won 3 of the 4, but Ryan won the last one. So
Right.
This is an interesting matchup. I love sophomore quarterback Buck Randall for Highland Park. Ryan's got the big uglies up front and the 2 really good running backs. The key for Ryan is getting Braden Mussett involved. When they get him involved, good things happen.
And it only takes twice. You only need to get him twice the ball, and it's usually a big play. So
he put the game away last week. He caught a little pop pass on a jet sweep and took it 65 yards for the clinching touchdown. I think Denton Ryan. I'm going to pick Denton Ryan here. I think they're gonna get in their heavy package. It's a tough matchup for Highland Park, and I like Denton Ryan in a close one.
Stay on it. What about our boys from Angleton? What about our Wildcats?
Interesting matchup for the Wildcats here, taking on Smithson Valley out of the San Antonio area. Smithson Valley played in the state championship game last year. 2 very physical football teams. This is going to be a Saturday afternoon at Baylor, and if you like smash mouth, 2 teams taking a tire iron and beating the hell out of each other, well, this is your game because that's what these 2 teams are going to do. I tend to lean Region 3 when playing Region 4. I think Angleton's going to have a speed advantage on Smithson Valley, and I think that they can get their guys, Jamarcus Shockley, Wesley Jackson, in space. I think good things can happen for Angleton. So I'm going to go Denton Ryan taking on Angleton in the state championship for another DFW versus Houston matchup.
Now, that's definitely not one that we would have predicted before the season started.
No.
I know I didn't predict Angleton to make it 3 rounds deep, but now we're talking.
Old Tepper's picked against Angleton every week.
Oh, has he?
But he picked them this week, so I don't know. Maybe it could be the jinx. We'll
he's
see.
Ruined it. Dang,
he picked them. Yeah.
That's a mistake. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll be there. I think you said you're going to be there. It's going to be a fun little game. It sounds like it might go quick. They're going to be busting in the mouth the whole game, so it might be a fast one, which helps me stay on deadline, which is always a good thing for me. All right, Division II. We've been talking about Randall Sock. I mean, there's still a chance for it. You said Randall's kind of been struggling a little bit, but they're playing a Bernie squad that they will be a heavy favorite for Friday night down at Baylor. Do you think they get their offense together on this joint?
If they don't, I'll be real concerned because Bernie's defense is not great. Bernie is an offensive team, and if Randall doesn't get the offense going, I'll be very concerned. I expect them to get the offense untracked. I think Sweeney, Williams Callis will have a big. I love the receiver for Randall, Jackson Montalongo. He's had some big games, big catches for them. I think we're going to see Randall's offense get untracked this week. So I think it's a bad matchup for Bernie. I think Randall rolls here into the state championship game. The game to watch is at the top side, Argyle and South Oak Cliff. Should be a great ball game Friday night at SMU. These 2 teams played 2 years ago in the semifinals, and Sock won a slugfest 10-6 in the Fog. It was the Fog Bowl.
14-6, wasn't it? Or no?
It was 14. I thought it was 10-6. Maybe it was 14-6.
Okay. I know it was a Fog Bowl.
It was a low-scoring game. I think this one's going to be a little more high-scoring. I think Argyle does have the ability to push Sock, but I think at this point, South Oak. I think we're destined for South Oak Cliff Randall state championship game. So I think we could get 4 DFW versus Houston state championship matchups.
That would be
in the
pretty sweet.
Classes.
Yeah,
it would be.
And the good thing that I saw is for Sock at least they got that. We talked about this for weeks about how Sock could play P&G in week 2. I kind of wish it was played in week 2 now because the way they kick their pants off and get that game out the way and we can go on to something else. But the good thing is I only saw 1 or 2 tweets of Sock talking about P&G after the game. Nothing on Sunday. So anybody that thought beating P&G was their little Super Bowl thing, that Sock doesn't play like that. They're concentrated on the next one.
Yeah.
On to Argyle. We'll see how it goes because we're going to talk in 4A in some of these 4A matchups. Some of these teams may just be happy to be there. And this may be their goal here at the state semis because they don't expect it. But you get this close, you shouldn't be happy with anything now. It's time.
We call this the cruelest round of the playoffs because if you make it, you made it. Like even if you go to AT&T Stadium and get blown out, you made it. No one remembers the teams that loses in the semifinals.
That's true.
So this is the cruelest round of all. You're so close.
And so far. 4A Division 1. Let's talk about Bay City. There's a lot of rematches in the regional finals, and a lot of teams got their get backs. Lavernia is one of them. Got their get back against Bay City, but man, I didn't think they're going to beat them like that. They kind of beat them down,
Yeah.
They took over time of possession. They just beat them down, and now they got Kilgore in the next round. Tell me what your thoughts are. This is one of the teams I was talking about. Are they just happy to make it to the state semi, or do you think they have the guts to go through and make it to the finals?
Lavernia's style of play, I don't think they're happy. I think they play a physical style of play, a physical brand of football, so I think they're going to come to play. The problem is Kilgore matches up with them up front. Bay City probably didn't match up real well with Lavernia. Kilgore does, and Kilgore has as much, if not more, team speed than Bay City. So it makes them a really tough matchup. Lavernia, credit to them. They beat Calhoun last week. They beat got to get back against Calhoun last week, and they got to get back against Bay City this week. Disappointing effort for Bay City. I thought we'd see Bay City Kilgore, but Lavernia had other ideas, and credit to them. Kilgore finally got past Chapel Hill. They'd lost to them 3 straight years in the playoffs, and they made it emphatic. They dominated Chapel Hill 30-6 on Friday night, so a big win for the Kilgore Bulldogs. So I like Kilgore in that matchup over Lavernia. I just think they're a little too much. They got a kid. Kilgore's got a kid, Jaden Sanders, Michigan signee. He signed with Michigan last week. He's a stud. Kilgore's really, really good.
Well, saying really, really good, you could be saying the same thing about the top bracket when you talk about Solana, who just seems like they're a buzzsaw right now. They got challenged a little bit in the first half and then just dominated the second half, their game with Alvarado. Yeah. West Plains pulls off the win against Stephenville. Is West Plains a team that's happy to be there? Or I can't see them giving Solana much of a game. Are we heading for Solana, Kilgore?
I think so.
Matchup?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think West Plains, I think it'd be great. I think I'll be excited for that game.
Yeah.
I think West Plains is, I think they're probably a little more likely to be happy to be there. They pulled a big upset over Stephenville last week. Credit to them, big win. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be at Solana. Solana's a juggernaut, so I like Solana.
They're certainly playing some ball. You talked about it early about our boys from Sealy. They did put up points. They stayed in the fight, but man, their defense could not stop La Vega. They couldn't stop their running back. I forgot what his last name was. Bryson Rowland. Rowland. He got a couple big runs in there. Mm-hmm. They're taking on Wimberley, which is a blue blood. You've seen it a million times. Carthage, you threw that stat at us last week. Are they heading for Surratt heading for another championship before he gets another playoff loss? Keep that record a couple games ahead, because they're taking on a Brock team, which is it's a solid Brock team. They got their revenge on a team that beat them 38-0. But man, it just seems like Carthage got too much.
Yeah, credit to Brock. I mean, you don't see too many 12-10 triple overtime games. So that's what we had against Graham. 12-10. They got the third overtime 2-point conversion to win it. Credit to Brock. First year in Class 4A to get to the semifinals. Great accomplishment. But I think Carthage has just got way too much. I mean, they were up last week on Van 53-7 at the half and put all the starters on the bench. They're just a machine. Way too much talent at Carthage. I think they're going to be in the championship game. La Vega Wimberley, I think it's going to be a really good ball game Friday night there in Georgetown. Love this matchup here. What La Vega's got Bryson Rowland. Wimberley's got Cody. Now, Wimberley last week, they almost blew a big lead against Sinton. It was 36-19, and in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes left. And Sinton scored, recovered an onside kick, scored again, and recovered a second onside kick. And Sinton had the ball in Wimberley territory at the end of the game and turned it over on downs. It was 36-33. So Sinton almost pulled off a miracle comeback. La Vega kind of held Sealy at bay all night long. Sealy would score, but La Vega kind of constantly had a 2-score lead. I trust La Vega's defense a little bit more than Wimberley's, so I'm going to go La Vega and Carthage in the state championship game. Little Waco versus East Texas there.
Yeah, we said we don't have any Dallas-Houston in that matchup for sure. All right, 3A Division I. This is the team I've been rolling with the whole year. They're still going. They took out their nemesis Franklin. They put up, 69?
62.
62 on them. I mean, their offense is cooking. And they're playing against another offense that's cooking. We talked about the one game being pretty fast, the Angleton game being quick. I think this one might be 11:30 before you get out of there.
You may have a lot of points in this one. So Thursday night at Rice State. If you're in the Houston area and you want to see some talent, Thursday night Rice Stadium, Columbus and Edna. Columbus, you got Adam Schobel, the TCU commit at quarterback. You got Grayson Rigdon, the Wyoming football and basketball commit at Columbus. You've got John Schobel, the linebacker, committed to TCU. You got Anthony Shorter, the defensive end, who I believe is for Columbus, who I believe is committed to Sam Houston. And then you got Braylon Fisher, the wide receiver, as a sophomore, who's getting all kinds of D1 looks. Loaded team. Edna has got their own guy, Braylon Harris, who I believe is the half-brother of Reuben Owens, if memory serves correctly. They're the former El Campo star. Braylon Harris had 4 touchdowns last week as Edna beat Ashley Pickles' alma mater, the Llano Yellow Jackets, 41-14. Edna's in their 3rd straight state semifinal. They got blown out the last 2 years. I don't know if they get blown out, but I like Columbus. I just can't see Edna getting stops against that Columbus offensive juggernaut.
Put them in that state final game, and then you got Malakoff and with who? Mike Jones taking on Paradise. Everybody, our literature buffs probably want to see Paradise lose, or we can say Paradise lost. That's a little some deep. Y'all got to go, and you're deep in your English classes for that mess. Yeah. But Paradise against Malakoff. Who do you got in that one?
Saw Malakoff last week against Liberty Ilo. Very impressed with the Tigers. They own the state's longest winning streak at 30 games in a row. Their offensive and defensive lines are really good. They've got not great team speed, but above average team speed. They've got a great linebacker, Parker Poteet, great running backs in Jerryon Hall and Jason Tennyson. And then they got the guy, Mike Jones, at quarterback, who plays defense, plays offense. He's an elite athlete. He's also a pitcher, throws 90-plus miles per hour pitching. He's a guy who throws a shot put in track. He's a really, really good athlete. And I think Malakoff's been here, done that. This is Paradise's first trip to the state championship game. Their defense is very good, but I just don't think they can handle Malakoff. Not in this environment at the Star on Thursday night. I'm going with the East Texas. Malakoff is East Texas. East Texas versus Houston state championship game in 381.
And since there's not a lot of DFW teams playing that I can get to, Malakoff's DFW this week, Stepp. I'll be up there just for 1 week only.
Well, Paradise is DFW.
That's right. Paradise is DFW too. So, one night only, I'm going to show up there and see what's going on with who? Mike Jones.
He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch.
I remember him last year against Brock. He was fun. He brought him back. Division 2, what is our boys from Tidehaven? Do they have a shot here with Woodville? Because Woodville, that's an impressive win over Dangerfield.
They're playing really, really well. The last 2 weeks, Woodville has victimized East Texas with beating DeKalb and beating Dangerfield, both bad. Luke Babin, their quarterback, is outstanding. The sophomore, he's a big-time player. They've got a running back, Tavon Hunter, I believe is his name, or Tavion Hunter. He had 5 touchdowns in the first half last week for Woodville. They're going to have a big team speed edge over Tidehaven. Tidehaven's been here before. Yes. David Lucio's ball club will drag you into the mud and bring you into the deep water and make you play their game. If Tidehaven does that, they've been here before. They played in the state championship game last year. Woodville, in the history of the Woodville's been playing football for over 100 years. Before this year, they had never even been to the 3rd round of the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Now they're in the state semifinals. If it gets close late, could we see some pucker factor with Woodville? Tidehaven been there, done that. I think Woodville's got the talent edge, but Tidehaven's got the intangibles. But if I'm picking, I'm picking Woodville.
Interesting. You look at the top half. That game's going to be. I mean, people see Gunter and they're thinking, but I think that game's going to be a lot closer than many might think. Mainly because their stud is out with Colin Peacock, the Baylor commit's not playing, but also Wall upset. We were thinking we were going to see Gunter Canadian again, but no, Wall's in there.
Wall, and not only did Wall beat Canadian, Wall beat Canadian bad, 49-3. Wall, for those who don't know, is near just outside of San Angelo in West Texas. Always a really good baseball program, very consistent winner in football, but they were running the flex bone. Last year in track, I think they won the state championship in boys track or finished second. They had a great track team, and a lot of those kids are back. They decided to kind of go to the spread offense because they have such good team speed, and they're killing it in their first year running a spread offense. So I'm going to pick Gunter here, but I'm putting this game on upset watch. Let me tell you, I think Wall has a good shot to win this game. They are impressive.
And if you're looking to tear up a town, Gunter, all the fans will be gone because that's a 4 p.m. game, so you're free to go to the Dairy Queen.
School. I think Gunter canceled school on Friday, yeah. I bet Wall did too. I haven't checked Wall, but I know Gunter canceled school Friday.
That should be a good one.
So state semifinals. Come on, you got to cancel school.
You got to. They weren't going to learn anything on that Friday anyway. They'll be on their phones seeing what's going on. Ganado, we're going to reach deep, pull them in for Houston. Your thoughts against Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, I saw Joaquin last week, and they're not bad. Joaquin's for those of you who don't know, if you just look on a map and look up where Logansport, Louisiana is,
Right.
just look right across the river, 5 miles, and there's Joaquin. It's as far east as you can go in East Texas. Wow. They run the slot T, and the slot T is the Devil. And they finished fourth in their district. Joaquin is a fourth-place team in the state semifinals. But they're up against Ganado, Bryce Ullman, Logan Burris, great combo there at Ganado. They rolled past Marlin 41-14 last week. They got to this point last year before they ran into Terry Bussey, and Terry Bussey.
What can you do? Yeah.
Terry Bussey did Terry Bussey things. Joaquin ain't got a Terry Bussey. Give me Ganado.
There you go. Let the 4 seed go. I don't even think the 4 seed should even be in the playoffs.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. Then you look at the top half. I have seen him. I think I ran that joke last week. I have seen Hamilton.
Sorry, run it back, Lizzie. Run it back.
Off Broadway, but I haven't seen the football team. Talk about them in Stanford, excuse me. Who do you think comes out of this one? It looks like I would probably go with Stanford, but what are you thinking of that joint?
So this is one of 2 matchups this week featuring undefeated teams. The first one is Duncanville, North Crowley. The other one is this. Hamilton's a great story getting here. Kind of no one expected it. They're 14-0. They've been living on the edge and winning close football games. They won last week 15-14 in a throwback game that you would have hated because there weren't a whole lot of highlights. But Hamilton, they got the big highlight at the end. They scored with about 1:12 left to make it 14-13, and they went for 2 in the win and got it. The problem is Stanford is really, really good. Stanford was my preseason pick to win the state championship in 2A Division I, and they have done nothing but make me look really smart. They blasted Post last week, 48-26, in a game that really wasn't that close. I like Stanford here. So I think we're going to get a really fun state championship matchup between the Houston area and West Texas. Stanford, for those of you who don't know, is just right outside of Abilene. So I'm going to take Stanford and Ganado in the state championship.
What time is the 2A Division I final? That's a Wednesday?
That's the first game on Thursday.
On Thursday, okay.
So 11 a.m. Thursday.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
Division 2 will be Wednesday night?
Yeah, Division 2 is ahead of Division 1 this year.
We'll take a look at Division 2, even though we don't have a dog in the hunt. Munster against Groover, and you got Bremen against Shiner. It looks like a Munster-Shiner type deal.
Yeah, Munster's been really dominant. Groover is undefeated. So here's a fun stat for you. Groover, out of the 64 teams in 2A Division 2, Groover was the only one that went 10-0.
Oh, wow.
They're still here. They're 14-0 now. But Munster is really, really good. They are 12-2. Their 2 losses, Wizzy, are to 3A teams. 3A Division 2 Holiday.
Oh, wow. Right.
Holiday lost last week to Gunner in the regional final. Right. And then they lost by 1 score to Pottsboro, who is a 3A Division 1 team that went 7-4 and lost in the first round of playoffs. But remember, Munster's 2A Division 2.
Yeah.
Pottsboro's 3 divisions ahead of them, and they played them to a 1-score game. A 3A D1 playoff team. Munster rolled last week 54-14. I think they rolled this week over Groover. The bottom half is really intriguing. I think these are 2 young, up-and-coming teams in Bremond and Shiner. Everybody in Texas knows where Shiner is. I don't need to tell you about that. Bremond is kind of north of College Station. Really good matchup here. Bremond's got a 5'6", 170-pound running back named Tank Scott, who's a really good player. But Shiner, their young ball club has gotten better and better. Their defense was unbelievable last week in a 27-0 win over Junction. I'm taking the Shiner Comanches with their great helmets, best helmet in the state of Texas, bar none. Give me Shiner to take on Munster in the state championship game in 2AD2.
Sweet. You always have tired boys coming out of these Division 2A, Division 2, because the majority of them are going both ways in these games.
So we're going to get the state championship game, beer versus cheese.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And throw some sauerkraut in there, too.
There you go.
For the heck of it. All right. Well, I think you told me where you're headed, but let's tell the people. Are we all both going to Waco, or where are you going Thursday?
Thursday night, I will be in Mineral Wells to see Hamilton and Stanford, the 2 14-0 teams play. I'm going to go eat at the Rogue Dairy Queen in Mineral Wells. The Renegade.
Right. You're telling me about that.
The Renegade Dairy Queen. I'm eating there Thursday night, so I'll send you some pictures.
Please do.
Apparently, with their Dairy Queen has tacos. They have they make homemade. They don't give you a pack of taco sauce. They give you homemade salsa. So it's an elite Dairy Queen here, Wizzy.
All right.
Dairy Queen, you want to sponsor the podcast? Holler at us.
Exactly.
Friday night, I will be in Abilene Friday night for a doubleheader. I'm going to see Wall and Gunner at 4 at Abilene Christian, and then drive 5 minutes down the road to Shotwell Stadium in Abilene for Canyon, West Plains, and Salina. And then Saturday morning, I'll get up and drive from Abilene and hit Highway 6 in Eastland,
Cisco
actually.
Cisco Q.
I'll hit Highway 6, head south. Not all the way to Houston. You can take 6 all the way to Houston if you want.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stop in Waco and go to Baylor for Saturday's doubleheader. A couple of Houston teams involved. We'll see Angleton and Smithson Valley at 2:30. And at 7 o'clock, we'll watch Summer Creek and Vandergrift. And I will see you Saturday.
And then at 11:30 at night, we're going to do our podcast for the following week live
on the
in
field.
a Whataburger parking lot.
Yeah, we'll do it on the field. We'll do it at midfield at Baylor.
There we go. Right, they'll cut the lights off right when we get started on it.
There you go.
That's how it always goes. All right, well, I will see you on Saturday. I appreciate you joining us, big man. And we got one left. One more podcast left.
Yeah, kind of sad, man. The season's almost
sad.
over, but, you know.
I hate putting a bow on it. I love putting a bow on these Christmas presents for the boys, but I hate putting a bow on a high school football season because it just feels like as soon as it starts, it ends. It's a pain in the butt. And you've gone to, what, 60, 70 games this year? And it's still fast for you.
Yeah, I think I'm at 50 plus. Yeah, so I think I'm at 50 right now, so yeah.
Still feels like it's going by too fast, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll be back next week there, Stepp. I'll see you later, man. Did you put in...